the thesis of your article is basically that naked short selling is not massively. It's not something that's widespread within the market at all, and it's definitely not the reason for companies going bust. So you've cited a few examples in the article, and we can go into them. But um, how do you think a stock gets to that level of short interest without some amount of naked short selling occurring?
Well, I mean, I guess the first thing to point out here is if we're citing numbers that are that high, that's that's not based on naked short selling, right? Like you wouldn't have the number. Short interest wouldn't be that high if there was naked short selling, right? Like it wouldn't account for naked short selling, is what I'm trying to say. Like the naked shorts wouldn't factor into that part of the equation. So when you cite those numbers from an analyst, like the analytical reports, whatever, wherever it's coming from, S3 or whoever, like that's legit known borrows.
Hmm.
And that's also why we know the borrow number or the expense to keep borrowing got so high. In terms of like how it gets that high, how it can go in excess of 100%. Matt Levine, if, I forget when this was, but it was probably during the whole mayhem in January of that year. He wrote a good column explaining it. It's that shares can be lent out multiple times. I can lend it to you, and then you can lend it to someone else, and that counts, and that you can keep adding to the numerator. I mean, it's a chain. It's really weird to think about, but it happens, and like it rarely doesn't happen that often. But if you can't get the shares, and this borrowing it keeps happening, it can go over 100%, and that's what happened there. I mean, I again, like it's one of these things where people say naked short selling, but like, where's the evidence? Like, I understand why people would think that, and certainly in a case where the borrow rates got as high as they did for GameStop, like that would be a situation where you would expect it. Like, if there was ever a situation you would expect it, it's when the borrow rates go sky high, because why would you want to pay that? But I still haven't, again, still haven't really seen evidence for it.
Hmm. Okay, so you're saying that even so a lot so in my mind there's two instances where there's the I would consider something to be a naked short sell, and you can correct me if my understanding of the definition is wrong. So either under reg show rules where a hedge fund will go to a broker and call them up and say, look, they'll do their locate, but they'll not actually purchase them, or they'll not borrow them like physically from them,
Yep.
or and then they'll sell them in the market, and then either eventually they'll purchase them or they'll fail to deliver, or they just straight up don't even bother to do the locate, and then they just say, yeah, we've got this, we'll sell it.
Yeah, we've got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're saying that if the analytics numbers from people like S3 and stuff doesn't actually include any instances where the stock isn't like legitimately borrowed, so that the like the locates under reg show rules don't count towards the reported short interest.
My understanding is that it should count for anything where they said that there was a locate. I mean, I guess I understand what you're saying. I guess presumably there could be a situation where it's getting counted in there, but I don't think that's the norm. Like, I would think that's kind of an exception to what's going on. Um, because then it would be sort of like I just try to think about this because here's the problem with the whole naked short thing, right? And people admit this, like there's this black box that we can't see inside, and no one likes that. I mean, it wasn't long ago when we didn't even get fails to deliver data, right? So you kind of have to observe things. I think about it a lot as like it's like a black hole, right? Like physicists don't see a black hole. You can't actually see the black hole. You have to observe the effects of the black hole to see the black hole, right? Um, and so you look for these things that are just a little bit off, something like that, to like guide you to the idea that this might be happening. If it was the case that it's these like fake locates adding to it, like that would be sort of obvious. It should be easy for regulators to pick up on, for whoever for whoever to notice it and to like pin it down. It shouldn't be so hard to find and prosecute these naked shorts, right? Now, of course, I know what the answer is to this when you bring this up to people, right? Like they'll say, oh, they don't really care to find it, or, everyone's sort of in on it.
Hmm.
Obviously, I don't believe that, but, you know, but I mean, this is the way I look at it. It's like, if it was so obvious that it was just this like fake locate driving up the short interest, like, then it would be easy. It should be easy to find this.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess the point that you make in the article there specifically is that you say that Wes Christian, who has represented, I think you said he's done 71 different cases, or he's taken on 71 different cases. I'll check that actually.
Yeah, I think it's like 20 some, but he said he's done research into like 70.
Okay. So he's taken, yeah, sorry, you're right. So he's litigated 21 cases and done due diligence into 21. Let me just bring this up for people to watch. And either the cases have not gone anywhere or they've settled, basically. So I think the point that a lot of people would make in counter to what you're saying is that, look, if this is a way that hedge funds use to try and manipulate markets and bash down the price of different stocks, like they would just, the money that they're going to make off of it is nothing in comparison to the amount that they would have to pay to settle. So they're settling and just saying, yeah, we'll just get this off the table and we'll move out the way. Like, do you think that would be a legitimate thing that they, or well, not a legitimate, but could you foresee that happening? Because you're far more in that world than I am. You have dealt clearly with a lot more people in the financial industry and had a lot more experience in the system than I have. Like, do you find that to be something plausible, that they would settle a case in order to dismiss any discussion of it?
Okay, well, let's start at square one. We have no proof that these cases are settling, right? Like, basically no proof. There's 20 some cases. They're all private. Like, he's saying that these things settle. We have absolutely zero knowledge. I mean, there's like one or two where you can see that there was a settlement, I think. But for the bulk of them, we have no idea if there was a settlement or not. So this is his word against no evidence being provided. Two, we have no idea how much they're settling for, right? People will settle for a lot of things, right? Like you could settle just because I could settle for $5,000 because I know I'm going to pay legal bills of $50,000. We don't know. Like, this is one of the problems about this. Like, we just have zero. As much as they complain about the financial system being a black box, this is also a black box. And then when you ask them for evidence, they do the same thing that they accuse the financial system of. And they say, oh, well, we can't show you because of X, Y, and Z. And there's privacy concerns. And these are our clients. And blah, 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 blah. They use the same exact things. But then they get on their high horse about the financial system and try to prove to be crusaders. It drives me insane. So anyway, we have no idea what the settlements are for, right? They could be exactly what he's saying, that they're paying out so much money, and they just don't want to get caught, so they're willing to settle. They don't want to go to court. It could be that they're just settling because it's cheaper to settle. Just go the hell away. I'll pay $5,000 for a settlement. You can say you got a settlement. We won't object to it, and this saves us money. It could be the situation you're saying, though, right? Like, I totally accept that it could be that situation where they're making so much money off this. Just, hey, hush, hush, be quiet. Here's some money, go away. But then, like, these people treat this like a crusade. This is us against the system. The system's corrupt. Okay. So then at what point are you actually going to have morals and, put up your values and say, wait, no. The point here is to fix this problem. And we're going to go to court and we're going to put this out in the open so everyone can see it. Why aren't they doing that? So they'll say, of course, well, we have an obligation to our clients and, we get them the settlement. Okay, fine. But like, you can't talk about how you're trying to fix the problem if you're not actually taking steps to fix it. Like, if you're going to keep everything in the dark and you're not going to present your evidence to the world, you're not going to show people, hey, here's 100% proof that we got a settlement and it was because of this and this is how much we got. I mean, I don't understand why people take this as like, look what he did. He's won all these cases. He's got all these settlements. No one knows. I don't know a single person who knows this, who's going, or has the evidence, can prove it. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of pick your choice, but I think, my two options are more logical than the third one.
Hey everyone, thanks for making it right the way to the end of the podcast. I love that you tuned in this long. Do me a favor, hit subscribe, because 80% of you bastards are not subscribing, but you're watching my videos. See you next time.